for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
Welcome to the 5 o'clock hour, SicEm365 Radio. Craig, David Smoak, Paul Catalina, Armstrong Sims and his army behind the scenes as well. We've been talking a lot about Big 12 news and happenings, and Oklahoma and Texas, the SEC, just got done talking to some Cowboys with Mickey. So now taking a look at a few other different stories that are going on around sports. Las Vegas has quickly become New Oakland, basically. Mm-hmm. You've had the Raiders that have moved to Las Vegas. The Golden Knights weren't a transfer over from Oakland because they had no NHL team there. But it doesn't look like the city of Las Vegas is stopping anytime soon their pursuit of becoming the next professional sports mecca. And a team that could be joining the Golden Knights and the Raiders very soon, well, the Raiders know them very well, the Oakland A's. They have been in long battles over their stadium, and the fact that their stadium is a complete garbage dump of a facility and has been for years now at this point. But there's been a lot of back and forth with, the city of Oakland and the A's organization, just like there was with the Raiders and the Warriors before they also left town to go across the bridge to San Francisco. But it's looking more and more like Vegas could be the spot for the Oakland A's. On Tuesday, Oakland City Council officials voted in favor of a non-binding term sheet for a new ballpark and a surrounding development. But that has been pushed back on by Oakland A's president Dave Cavall. Because the city voted in favor of a term sheet that differed from the one the A's proposed 3 months earlier, and the city also included amendments that the team hadn't seen until it was put in front of them just on Tuesday. Rob Manfred from Major League Baseball said he was disappointed in the outcome and that they would immediately begin conversations with the A's to chart a path forward for the club. So basically, Cavall said they're going to unpack everything, but it's looking more and more like the A's could be on the move to Las Vegas, if not another potential spot. But they said they'd probably finance a ballpark. It'd be about $1 billion, all that, but it just doesn't look like something's going to get done with the city of Oakland, guys. Your thoughts on the Las Vegas A's potentially?
It's a bummer for the city of Oakland, but have you either been to the Oakland Coliseum?
Yeah, one time.
It is a dump.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's an absolute dump.
You know what it reminds me of? Like the old cookie-cutter stadiums that's gone bad.
Yeah. I went there. I went to one A's game and sat pretty close to the field, and there were cobwebs on the cup holders. I mean, that's one of the things where you're like, this is how long since somebody sat in these seats that there's cobwebs, and it's unfortunate. But also the city of Oakland, and I think rightfully so, fought building a new stadium because building the other ones put them in the hole. And so, they can't do it. If they can't come to it, then maybe Oakland's not a place that needs to have professional sports teams, unfortunately. And I hate it for those fans, but that's the business world.
Yeah, so the city came out with what they came out with. The A's did not see eye to eye with that. Meanwhile, A's brass has taken what amounts to now 4 trips to Las Vegas for scouting and whatnot, discussions, since the A's were given the green light to look around and look at potential opportunities outside of Oakland. Since then, the A's brass has gone to the city of Vegas 4 times. So there's also been rumors, in the past of the Diamondbacks potentially making a move, or, they were rumored at one point for Vegas, but the A's in Vegas looks like it could be moving on down the tracks, and Las Vegas would suddenly have 3 pro sports teams. City of Oakland would have nothing left. They would have absolutely no pro sports teams left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the changing geography of sports in America.
Even the Golden State Warriors, right?
They're in San Francisco now.
Yeah.
They're in San Francisco now. I'm not going to probably talk too much about Conor McGregor moving forward. I have on past editions of Off the Radar because that's really when we get some time to talk the bigger MMA headlines. But, of course, a couple weekends ago, he broke his leg throwing a kick at a big fight with Dustin Poirier, their trilogy fight. Poirier obviously won by default, and Conor's, tried to drum up interest in, various scenarios since. He's given updates on his injury, and he's kind of vowed to be back and whatnot. Maybe a third, or actually it would be a 4th Poirier fight would happen. I don't know how many people would have interest in that. There's always been the cherry dangled of, the 3rd trilogy fight with Nate Diaz. I think there'd be some interest in that, but there's not really stakes for that fight anymore other than just bragging rights. Khabib's not coming out of retirement just to whoop Conor. I mean, there's not a lot of great pass forward for him. And some might have thought with that gruesome leg break that he would just go ahead and call it a career, maybe entirely. He certainly made enough money. He had to go under the knife for 3 hours to repair that leg break. But UFC President Dana White said it will take at least a year for Conor McGregor to recover before he's able to come back and fight at some point. So he just gave a little bit of a timeline. It said that, Conor's been dealing with a lot of various injuries, but a year away from the octagon at the bare minimum, it looks like, for Conor McGregor. So what do you guys think about the way his star has sort of fallen over the last 2-3 years since he was at the height of his superpower, so to speak?
It's a bummer. I mean, I hate it when, especially someone who is, everybody can agree is the best at one thing and then they're not. Mm-hmm. I think UFC is going to be a sport for a long time, though, that's probably going to it's going to have this. They're going to have these great times where they have the Ronda Rouseys and the Conor McGregors and all that, and then not going to be that great for a little bit.
There's a transition where guys get older, girls get older, and they're not as good, like Ronda, like Conor.
Yeah.
But there will be another GSP or a Khabib Nurmagomedov or someone like that'll roll through. But Conor McGregor looking at least a year. So any talk about another fight for him is way on the back burner at this point. We don't talk a lot of hockey, but last night the Seattle Kraken expansion franchise held their inaugural draft. They were able to complete their roster throughout their expansion picks, so they are now loaded for bear. They picked the 32nd franchise in NHL history, and the names is kind of a bummer if you're a Kraken fan. You're getting all excited about who might join your team. The names had actually leaked out earlier in the day, so it was all pretty much spoiled. But have you seen the uniforms? I like them. I think it's a cool look.
The uniforms are nice. Armstrong, can you look up the uniforms and put them up on the screen?
And they had a all-star cast: Sue Bird, Gary Payton, Marshawn Lynch, Sean Kemp. They all joined GM Ron Francis to announce their 30 selections. I think
Beast Mode did the first one. I saw
that.
Marshawn?
Yeah, he did the first one, and I love him. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's hilarious, and he's actually going to start acting. He's in some acting. He's good.
Man.
He's great. But I think that it looks like they did what the Golden Knights did a couple of years ago, and instead of going for the stars, they went with that kind of thing where we just want good players, not necessarily great players, so that we can be competitive pretty quickly. And I think it's pretty smart. Yeah, there you go. There's the uniforms.
There's the Seattle Threads right there. The Kraken. Pretty cool.
Wait a minute. There's somebody that has colors like that.
The Mariners.
Okay.
So it's like kind of like they're doing the thing like Pittsburgh does.
Right.
Like the teams in Pittsburgh all have black and gold, and they're all kind of similar. So you can mix and match.
Yeah, no doubt. This was just a small note from how the SEC teams are adjusting to life, with lots of talk about Texas and Oklahoma potentially joining the conference. Of course, LSU, Missouri, Arkansas, Auburn, Alabama, they all dip into the state of Texas for a couple of players every year. But Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz had the best response pretty much immediately, and I just thought this was a fun note. But upon hearing the news about potential SEC expansion, he's already telling recruits that are going, potentially to look at Oklahoma and Texas versus Missouri. See, even the Longhorns and Sooners want to play in the SEC. Mm-hmm. So that's the approach that Missouri's head coach is taking, and I would imagine a lot of others will take that approach as well. So, that'll last for a year, because probably they're going to turn right around. If everything goes the way that we think it's going, they'll be in there in just about a year. And one final note, the Olympics are sort of kind of underway. I saw a softball game on the other night. There was no one there.
Yeah, soccer's playing.
Yeah, Kat Osterman was on the mound for Team USA. I remember watching her at Texas 25 years ago, and she was awesome there. But one country has already pulled out, and it is the nation of Guinea. The African nation has backed out of the Tokyo Games, citing the COVID-19 pandemic as its reasoning. Their Minister of Sports said in a letter to the Olympic Committee, due to the resurgence of COVID variants, the government, concerned with preserving the health of Guinean athletes, has decided to regret to cancel Guinea's participation in the 32nd Olympics scheduled for Tokyo. They were only sending 5 athletes. It's a very small place out there in Africa. They had a freestyle wrestler, a pair of swimmers, a runner, and a judo competitor. They've never won a medal. They've only been in 11 Olympics, but they will not be in a 12th, at least this time around. So small team decided it's not worth the stress of it, and I don't think they'll be the last nation that we hear about some cancellations of some sort. But there's a few things that are off the radar.
All right, very nice. Normally a little bit earlier at 4:45 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but today pushed back with all the talk about what is the future of the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma, and also what does that mean for those left in the Big 12. All right, when we come back,